I'm Toni Taylor with Interconnect Mortgage, and I am incredibly excited to be here today with Anila from ASR Law Firm, and we're going to talk about real estate law.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Tony, for having me.
No, of course. I think that it's so important. I love education. And I think that one of the big problems in our industry is that the public thinks they know how this business works because so many people buy and sell homes.
Yeah.
They don't understand the importance of who they hire to handle the real estate side of things from a law firm, title office standpoint. And you're going to help us see some of those distinctions today and hopefully help educate the public as to why it's very important for them to actually have an attorney on their team in case things happen. So,
Absolutely.
give us a little bit of rundown, give me a little background on you, your history, so that people understand who you are and how you got into this space.
Excellent. Thank you. So I'm the owner and lead attorney at ASR Law Firm. I've been practicing here in Florida for about 20 years. And my law firm focuses on real estate transactions. Part of that is doing title closings, issuing title insurance, doing closings, residential, commercial. And you are absolutely right. It is done so often that the misinformation sometimes is rampant, and folks really need to know who they're hiring and know who their team members are and what everyone's roles are in the whole process. And also to make sure that they're comfortable with the people that's working for them.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is the role of the title person is not just the role of the title person, right? And title, I always like to explain it to people when we talk about title insurance. Title insurance is the opposite of car insurance or homeowners insurance. And what I mean by that is title insurance insures you for the past. Car insurance and homeowners insurance insure you for the future.
Absolutely.
So when you look at the person that's representing you, one component is obviously making sure that when you purchase a home, that you're taking it clean of any liens that were attached to anybody that owned that home previous to you.
Exactly, exactly. So the research that goes into it, the homework, the searches, the lien searches, title searches, looking at surveys of the property, looking at the history, public records, all of that goes into it because again, we are insuring the past, and we have to make sure that when we are issuing that policy to a purchaser of real estate, that they can really hang their hat on that, and they can rest assured that the information we're giving them is accurate and that they are fully insured and protected. And what that means is that they're protected from anyone coming and claiming ownership of the property, any liens all of a sudden creeping up and they're finding out about it after they've taken ownership and possession of the property. Um, Sometimes even surveys finding out that the property lines aren't where they thought it was comes up, and it's an issue. Exactly, exactly.
The fence.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So let's talk about, if we could, let's switch gears just for a second and let's talk about the contracts.
mhm.
Because I think that, obviously the majority of the transactions that take place out there utilize real estate agents, which is great. And I always encourage everybody to make sure that you have an agent representing you,
Yeah,
because you need somebody in your court, right? But
absolutely.
the real estate agents, while they're licensed, they're not attorneys.
Yes.
So what are the limits that have to adhere to from with regards to the contract part of the transaction? There are things that they can fill in, right? But there are things that they can't advise on.
Exactly.
Right? To the point of some of those distinctions.
I think you just said it. They can fill in the form. The form, just to backtrack for a second, the form is, for the most part, the one that's used most commonly is a standardized form developed by the Florida Association of Realtors and the Florida Bar. And it is really meant to reflect the average, or the all the things and all the points that you would find on the average real estate transaction. Um, and it has all the points, all the important things, all the deadlines, all the costs, the down payment, all the things that you need to know. And those are the things that your realtor can help you with. But sometimes things get tricky. Sometimes there are little nuances, such as, let's say, for example, the seller, they were going to sell, but they needed to lease back the property because they needed to stay an extra month or two to sort out things. Those are little terms that your realtor may not be able to assist with. that you would like to have an attorney look at those terms. Other times, discrepancies happen and one party, the both parties, they don't really align in their thoughts as to what the contract means or says. Sometimes there are permit issues that come up and have to be resolved. And that's where the attorney comes in. Like you said, the realtor, and most of them do a great job of filling in the negotiated points, but they aren't able to advise on certain things.
Yeah, and I think that, something that we see a lot in the mortgage space is, for example, the MLS may state that the property is being sold furnished.
Yeah.
But what we see very often is the definition of the seller's perspective of furnished is very often different than the buyer's perspective of what furnished means.
Absolutely.
And so making sure that these things, the devil's in the details, making sure that these things are outlined in a way, it's contract law. So the contract is going to supersede any of the verbal conversations that take place.
Exactly.
So the details that are outlined are super important. And, you see Facebook, right? It's such a double-edged sword because we see these communities that are specific to real estate and mortgages and pick your flavor, that you'll have people post stories of things that happen. And I just saw one the other day that talked about, I'm on my way to buy my buyer a new washer and dryer because they did not review the contract correctly and it was omitted. And so making sure that you're covered. Now that agent was a great agent and stood up and did the right thing for their client because it only fell on their shoulders and their responsibility. The other thing that I think is super important is when a transaction goes smooth, sometimes you can go, oh, well, we didn't need that higher level of representation. You're not getting the higher level of representation for the smooth transaction. It's getting it for the bumps that could fall under.
Exactly. Absolutely. So in terms of bringing in an attorney into the real estate transaction, I look at it as though, and the way I explain it to folks is it's a little bit of insurance. Look, we buy insurance for our cell phones, right? Buy that additional insurance to help make sure, one, that you're understanding everything that's happening and that's going to happen throughout this transaction, and then also to make sure that there's someone entirely on your side. Now, all of your professionals, your realtor, your mortgage broker, the closing agent, if they're not also the attorney, they're all working, yes, for the completion of the transaction, and we're all, going in the same direction, but you don't necessarily have someone 100% on your side unless you have an attorney that's reviewing everything. And sometimes it's just simple omissions, not anything nefarious, just someone forgot to add a credit, or someone forgot to do something on a closing statement, and you want to make sure someone's there looking out for those things.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that we look out for. It's a team effort, right? It's not. I don't ever view it as, oh, it was your job, you should have caught. Absolutely, a real estate agent's job, or it's us as a team. You have multiple people now looking out for your best interest,
right,
and making sure that things don't happen. I'll share a scenario with you that played out for me on a transaction. I had acquired a property when it was vacant land, and the house was taxed when it's raw land. It was new. We built a home on the property, taxed as raw land. Now, a year later, it's being taxed as improved property. I was selling the home at the same time.
Right.
Now, I was selling the home in October. The tax bill was due to come out at the beginning of November. And when we got the closing disclosure in, the attorneys on the transaction had done the prorations based upon the raw land.
Right.
Now, I knew that tax bill was going to come out on this particular property. It was going to be upwards of $12,000 to $13,000 a year. And I did not want the buyer coming back after me a month after closing. And frankly, I think that it's super important to just not be in that situation, right? It's not ideal. Not everybody has the liquidity to refund those monies per proration agreements, right?
Absolutely.
So by having the right team together, we caught it, right, and said, hey, let's get in here and correct this,
right,
so that it's never going to be perfect until that tax bill's official, but it was certainly much closer to accurate, and it ended up being about $1,000 swing versus a $13,000 swing.
And no one's surprised, right, because everyone's informed.
Yeah, but the truth is there were other parties on the transaction that missed it, and so when you have a team effort of professionals,
yes,
we're all working together to get your back.
Absolutely. And that's how we love to look at it. It's not, that's the realtor's portion, that's the lender's portion, those are the parties. It is really, this is our team. and we all get together and share all the information that we have from the get-go at the beginning of any transaction. Everyone exchanges contact information and email, information about the terms, any, specifics, any, not that there should be, but if there's any agreement outside of the contract. I know I've shared this one with you before, but I'm gonna tell you again. There was a time where the parties outside of the contract, the seller allowed a buyer to start some work on a project, which I never advise unless it's in a contract somewhere or written down as to what the terms would be if it didn't close or whatnot. And it ended up being a huge contentious situation at the end because it did not close, and that stemmed litigation because you had a buyer who started buying materials and started doing a project, and none of that was in the governing contract.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of crazy how often that comes up because we will see that a lot. And probably one of the things that will trigger an event like that is the appraisal comes in and it is subject to some repairs being dealt with.
Right.
And the seller is kind of planting their flag and saying, we're not fixing it. And the buyer is, wants the property. Our advice is the same, like, don't ever do work on a home you don't own. There's ways to navigate these things. And,
Right.
probably one of the things that we've seen increasingly over the last couple of years is roofs.
Yes.
And the roof needs to be dealt with
Yes.
before the transaction can be insurable by the new buyer sometimes.
Right.
So, and I get it. Sometimes sellers are in situations where they don't have the resources. So we have structured and found ways around that in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe ever it has involved the buyer paying for that roof. So we've actually been pretty successful in aligning with roofers.
Oh,
that will come in, and as long as we get the deal to a certain point of clearance with regards to the buyer, so that there's kind of the safety net. We've had some roofing companies, and they're all individual. I don't want to speak for any company out there.
Right.
There have been some companies that have been gracious enough to say, you know what, because we understand that you're almost ready. We've got the permits. We'll go ahead and put the roof on. It'll take us a week. We'll get the property re-inspected, and we'll clear to close it. So there are things that have to be worked through, but you need to have a team of experts.
Absolutely.
It is not for the faint of heart. And if you're thinking about doing a transaction without agents, I think, first of all, nobody can help you write that real estate contract other than an attorney or a real estate agent. So I can't, I may be able to read a contract. I am not licensed as an attorney and I'm not licensed as a real estate agent. So it would be illegal for a mortgage person without those designations and licensing to ever complete those documents for somebody. So in that situation, again, it's something that I would highly advise that people put in their toolbox to make sure that they protect themselves in these significant transactions.
100%.
Yeah. Probably the one last thing that I like to touch on is who gets a pick. And I think that it's important. And so it varies, like who picks the title company. If we're talking about a purchase transaction, it does vary from county to county. A contract ultimately dictates who's going to actually make the selection and who's going to take on the onus of the cost for the owner's title policy.
Yes.
And it's all negotiable, but whatever the contract is written is how it's going to go down. So in Palm Beach County, which we're in Boca Raton right now, in Palm Beach County, the contracts are more often than not written to where the seller is going to pick who the title agent is, the title attorney, and they're going to absorb the owner's title policy.
Yes, whereas and then the buyer pays for their own lender policy if it's a finance loan. Yeah.
And I think that the point there too that I would bring up is because I'll hear a lot of times customers will go, oh no, the seller's paying for that. Understand that there are going to be title expenses on both sides of the transaction. When they're saying in the contract that the seller is picking and paying, they're strictly talking about the owner's title policy.
Yes.
So the good news is, and that owner's title policy is very important. I would tell you never waive the owner's title policy, because it protects you as the owner. There is also, if there's financing on this transaction, there's also a lender's policy, and the lender's policy is exactly that. It protects the lender. So if you were doing a cash deal, you may be given the opportunity to waive that owner's title policy. I would highly encourage you not to do that.
I agree. I agree. And to be honest with you, I think most people are quite responsible about it, and they do opt for it because they understand the benefits of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a penny wise, pound foolish. Don't make that mistake, right? And then the other thing that I would tell you is understand that if you ever go to refinance, you also have a say. If you have the title company, the attorney that handled your acquisition, and you want to work with them, 100% you can. Don't let your lender guide you in terms of, or I should say dictate to you, you have to use somebody. You will have choices. So you can always go back to the attorney that helps you acquire your property. And if you keep that owner's policy in a safe place, which you should, that is your claim, your document to protect you. If there was ever something that popped up later on, you can say, I'm insured with this owner's title policy. That along with your survey and a refinance can actually get you some reduced costs.
Yep,
When
absolutely.
you go to do your transaction. So a couple of things to make sure that you keep in safe placing. We always try to tell people that and educate them and make sure that they're there. What else do you think is something that in your space you see often that you're like, people need to know this? This is something that's lacking in public perception or understanding that we should share with everybody.
I think the one thing that I would want to, a little bit of reiterating of what we've said, is that if you're the buyer or the seller, I think, you have to know that you're part of a team and that you have a great support that's following you and that is working for you and on your behalf, and that everyone is kind of responsible for kind of holding their own weight. I think making sure that your realtor, your attorney, the title company knows anything that has changed in the situation since the contract was signed or anything. It's best to bring those things up sooner than later, because the goal is always to have a stress-free and seamless closing, right? It's always for everyone to kind of work together. And not just thinking that it's piecemeal and things will somehow, the puzzle will come together at the end without some coordination amongst the parties.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think it's the education is to just tell that you have a clarity, but not to scare you or make you think that all these transactions are bumpy. They're not. For the most part, when you have the right professionals involved, they go pretty smooth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we operate proactively. I think that if you're in a condo or in a community with a homeowners association, it's very important to involve the title company attorney early in the process, because they do have to work with them to gather information as well. And it will vary depending on the nature of your property, but bring them in sooner than later, because if we can be proactive and remain in a proactive stance, that's always going to allow us to provide a smoother transaction.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of great realtors are really proactive about that. They are on it, and they make sure that those initial connections are made so that the rest of the transaction goes well.
That's awesome. One last tip I want to share, because I don't think people know this either. If you bought a home, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you bought the home, it's been less than 3 years, and you're now selling it. Do you have the ability to get a discount on your title insurance policies with that sale being in a 3-year time period?
Yes, if you can show the proof of the owner's policy, there is a reissue rate that we can apply.
So if you are flipping homes, or for whatever reason you bought the home, you thought it was your forever, but now life is taking you in a different direction, another reason to keep those owners policies close to you, because they can actually work as coupons, discounts to help you save on your costs going forward. So Anila, how would people reach your office?
There's so many ways. First of all, and thank you for asking. First of all, please, if you want more, there's just a myriad of bits of information on our website, and that's at asrlawfirm.com. You can reach us, telephone, that's 561-961-8695. And you can reach me directly. Email, I feel it's the best way to reach me. I'm constantly on it, constantly replying to folks. And it's at Anila@asrlawfirm.com. And I welcome questions. I welcome folks reaching out and, scheduling a call with me just to get some information if they have any issues that arise.
That's great. And I'll put your information below, so it's all consolidated. So if you weren't able to write that down or didn't hear it quickly enough, it'll be in the notes here in the comments below. So I thank you for taking the time. I think education is very important. I think that we can take a lot of the stress out of transactions the more people know and understand.
Absolutely.
And we believe that having the right professionals to be aligned with makes a difference on the entire experience. And your office is located in Boca Raton.
It is.
Do you have any geographic restrictions or?
We serve from the Panhandle down to the Keys within Florida.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.